where stories come to life and adventure is everywhere. Hi, friends. I'm Sluggle Spout. Ready to dream, imagine, and explore. Every story is filled with wonder, fun, and surprises just for you. Let's make new friends, discover new worlds, and have so much fun together. Alright friends, it's story time. Let's sit nicely, get our ears wide open, and get ready to listen closely. I can see some eager faces already. Well done. Who's ready to hear an amazing story? Okay, here we go.
The Little Hero of Willowbrook. Once upon a time, in a small, struggling village surrounded by dry fields, the people look weary. A well in the village square is bone dry. Liam carries a small sack of stale bread, glancing at the greedy landlord, Baron Grimmer, who hoards sacks of grain in a locked barn. At nighttime, Grandma Edna sits by a fire, telling a story. Liam and Mila listen wide-eyed. Grandma Edna utters in a calm voice, "Long ago the golden spring brought life to Willowbrook. But when greed took hold, the waters vanished. Some say the shadow beast guards its secret." Mila asks, "So if someone finds the spring, the village will have water again?" Liam in a determined voice said, "Then I'll find it." Grandma Edna smirks and says, "It takes more than bravery, child. The beast only fears a heart pure enough to break the curse." While the village sleeps, Liam clutches his small wooden pendant, a gift from his late father, brought along his loyal dog Rusty, and sneaks away on an adventure. Mila catches up, out of breath. Mila in a worried voice, "You really think you can do this alone?" Liam responded bravely, "I have to. The village needs me." Mila grins and hands him a map scribbled on cloth. Mila utters, "Then you'll need this. Be careful, okay?" Liam nods, then steps into the dark forest. The twisting trees create eerie shadows. Rusty growls at rustling bushes. Suddenly, a talking owl named Orin swoops down. Orin shouts, "Hoo hoo!" A tiny traveler, brave or foolish? Liam stares in shock. Liam replies, Did you just talk?" Orin chuckles and said, "Only to those who listen. Answer my riddle, and I shall guide you. What has roots but never grows, has a mouth but never speaks?" Liam thinks, then grins. Liam cleverly speaks, "A river." The owl nods approvingly and gestures toward a hidden path. A rickety bridge sways over a deep canyon, and unexpectedly, one plank snaps under Liam's foot. Liam talks to himself, "I can't turn back now." He grips the ropes and carefully crosses, Rusty close behind. Liam reaches a cave, golden light flickering inside. A low growl rumbles. Shadows move behind him and Rusty. Liam gulping, but stepping forward and calmly mutters, I know you're there. I'm not here to fight." From the darkness, NYX, a huge wolf-like creature with glowing eyes, emerges. NYX in a booming voice, "Many have come, all have fled. Why should I spare you?" Liam looks at Nyx's chains, ancient magic symbols glowing on them. Liam concerned and said, "You're cursed?" Nyx growls but looks away. Liam softly speaks, "You don't want to scare people, do you?" Then comes a moment of silence. The Nyx's fierce expression softens. NIX responded, "The spring's power is bound by fear. Only one who sees past it can set it free." Liam hesitates, then removes his pendant. Liam said, "This belonged to my father. He always said kindness was the strongest magic." He gently presses the pendant to Nyx's chains. A golden light spreads, breaking the curse. The cave rumbles as water bursts from the ground, flowing toward the village. The villagers awaken to fresh water flowing into the well. Cheers erupt. Liam returns, muddy but victorious. Mila runs up and hugs him. Mila joyfully said, "You did it." Baron Grimgor stares in disbelief. The villagers, emboldened, demand fairness. A villager expresses, "We don't need your hoarded grain anymore, Baron." "The land is alive again," Baron stammers, but the people stand together. Days later, the village flourishes. The Nyx, now a majestic guardian, watches over them. Liam and Mila sit on the well's edge, Rusty wagging his tail. Mila looks at Liam and says, "So, what's next, hero?" Liam grins with a gentle smile and said, "I think I'll take a nap first."
The end.
And that's how Liam learned that bravery and kindness can change the world. Even the smallest person can make a big difference when they believe in doing what's right, and so can you too.
The star that led Lila home. Once upon a time, in a quiet village by the sea, there lived a little girl named Lila. She had the brightest blue eyes and hair as soft as the clouds. But one stormy night, a great fog rolled in, and when the rain finally stopped, her mother was gone. The villagers searched high and low, but no one could find her. Some said she had been lost in the forest, while others whispered that the sea had carried her away. But Lila refused to believe she was gone forever. One evening, as Lila sat by her window, a single bright star twinkled in the sky, shimmering more brightly than all the others. Lila felt a warmth in her heart, as if the star was whispering, "Follow me." So, with nothing but a lantern and a scarf her mother had knitted for her, Lila set out on a journey to find her mother. She walked through the whispering woods, where the trees bent their branches to light her path. She crossed the Silver River, where the fish leaped up as if guiding her forward, and encountered a small glowing fox, which playfully helps her on the journey. And finally, she climbed the great misty hill, where the star shone directly above. At the top, she found a small cottage hidden among the clouds. And standing at the door, with open arms and tear-filled eyes, was her mother. "I followed the same star," her mother whispered, holding Lila close. As Lila embraced her, a soft golden glow surrounded them, and her mother's form shimmered. In that moment, Lila realized the truth: her mother was not just an ordinary woman. She was a fairy goddess, bound to the stars and the heavens above. "I have always watched over you, my sweet Lila," her mother said gently. "But the time has come for you to know who you truly are. You have the same magic within you." The star above twinkled one last time before fading into the sky. The journey was over, but a new one had just begun. Lila was home, and she now carried the light of the stars within her. The end.
And like Lila, you too can believe in yourself and never give up, even when things seem impossible. Love and hope will always guide you home.
Oliver and Emma's secret door to dreamland. Once upon a time, on a quiet night, as Oliver and his little sister Emma were getting ready for bed, something unusual happened. When Oliver pulled back his blanket, he found a tiny, glowing key resting on his pillow. "Where did this come from?" he whispered. Emma's eyes widened. "Maybe it's for a secret treasure." Curious, Oliver looked around the room. Then, he noticed something strange. His closet door, which was always plain wood, now had a tiny golden keyhole. With a racing heart, he slipped the glowing key into the lock and turned it. Click! The door swung open, revealing a swirling tunnel of stars and colors. A warm breeze carried the scent of cotton candy clouds. Emma grabbed Oliver's hand. "Let's go!" With a deep breath, they stepped inside. Suddenly, they were soaring through the tunnel like feathers in the wind, until, whoosh, they landed in a magical land where the sky shimmered like a dream. Before them stood a towering castle made of glowing moonstones. Friendly fireflies lit up the path, guiding them toward a grand door. As they stepped inside, they found a room filled with floating pillows, bouncing clouds, and twinkling dream bubbles. A small creature with fluffy blue fur and starry eyes floated toward them. "Welcome to Dreamland. I'm Nova, the Keeper of Dreams." Oliver and Emma gasped in wonder. "This place is amazing." Nova smiled. "Every night, when children sleep, Dreamland comes to life. But I need your help. Some of the dream bubbles have floated away, and we must catch them before they drift too far." Excited, the siblings grabbed soft nets made of silver thread. They ran, jumped, and laughed as they gently guided the dream bubbles back to their home. Each bubble held a magical dream: a boy flying on a dragon, a girl swimming with mermaids, a teddy bear having a tea party. Finally, the last dream bubble was safely tucked away. "You did it!" Nova cheered. "Thank you both for helping guide the dream bubbles home. Because of you, every dreamer will have a night full of wonder and magic." Oliver grinned. "That was so much fun." Emma clapped her hands. Can we visit again? Nova chuckled. Dreamland will always be here, waiting for you. As a thank you, Nova handed them each a tiny star. Whenever you hold this, you'll always have sweet dreams. A soft chime filled the air, and suddenly, whoosh, Oliver and Emma found themselves back in their bedroom, snug under their blankets. The closet door was just a normal door again, but in their hands, they each held a tiny glowing star. Emma yawned. Do you think Dreamland is real? Oliver smiled. Maybe. Or maybe, we'll go back again tonight. And as they closed their eyes, the stars above twinkled, waiting for their next adventure. The end.
Oliver and Emma's journey teaches that helping others, like how they help Nova in Dreamland, brings joy and makes the world a better place.
Once upon a time, in a small town in America, where the streets were lined with old oak trees and fireflies danced in the summer air, lived a boy named Jack. From a young age he loved trains, the way they rumbled on the tracks, the sound of their whistles, and the thought of them carrying people to far-off places. One night, as Jack lay in bed staring at the full moon, he heard something strange, a soft whistle in the distance. But there hadn't been a train in town for years. Curious, he crept to his window and gasped. A glowing silver train had appeared on the abandoned tracks behind his house. The doors slid open with a whoosh. A voice called out, "All aboard the midnight train." Jack grabbed his baseball cap and sneakers, then dashed outside. As soon as he stepped onto the train, the doors shut, and, whoosh, the train shot forward, faster than anything he had ever seen. Out the window, the world blurred past. But instead of his town, they were passing through floating cities, rainbow forests, and waterfalls made of stardust. A friendly conductor, Theodore, dressed in a shimmering blue coat, smiled at him. "Welcome, Jack. The midnight train travels through the dreams of the world. Tonight, you're our special guest." Jack explored the train, peeking into different carts. In one, children floated on cloud pillows, dreaming of adventures. In another, a carousel spun through the stars, with unicorns and dragons as rides. In the dining car, Jack found a table covered in glowing treats, cotton candy clouds, and twinkling gumdrops. "This is amazing." Jack laughed. Theodore nodded. "But there's one more stop, the Dream Maker's station." The train slowed as they arrived at a floating station made of golden light. Inside, an old woman named Alice with silver hair sat weaving dreams from stardust and moonbeams. But oh no, one thread was fading, a dream was disappearing. "A child might lose their dream," the dream maker Alice said sadly. "They've slowly stopped believing in magic." Jack thought for a moment. Maybe they just need a little help. He picked up the thread and tied it to his heart, filling it with his own sense of wonder. Like magic, the dream glowed brightly again. The dream maker Alice smiled. "Because of you, a child will be able to dream again tonight." With a final whistle, the train carried Jack back home. As he stepped off, the train vanished into the night, leaving only the sound of a distant whistle. The next night, Jack wondered, had it all been a dream? But when he reached into his pocket, he found a tiny silver train ticket, glowing softly. And he knew, the midnight train was always out there, traveling through dreams, waiting for the next adventure. The end.
Jack's journey reminds us that wonder and imagination are the keys to a limitless world. Keep dreaming, and you too will find your own magical path.
Anaya and the Elephant Moon. Once upon a time in a small village in India, where the air smelled of jasmine and the rivers shimmered like silver threads, lived a little girl named Anaya. She loved listening to her dadi, grandmother, tell stories under the great banyan tree at night, where the lanterns of Diwali flickered like captured fireflies. One evening, as the festival of lights filled the sky with golden lanterns, Anaya's Dadi told her a special story. Long ago, the moon elephant watched over the night, guiding lost travelers and carrying dreams to sleeping children. But one night, she lost her way and fell from the sky, vanishing into the land of lost dreams. Now, only someone with a pure heart can find her and help her return. Anaya's eyes sparkled. What if I find her, Dadi? Her grandmother smiled. Then the stars will shine brighter than ever before. That night, as Anaya lay in bed, a soft glow filled her room. A tiny firefly flitted through her window, whispering, "Come, Anaya. The moon elephant needs you." Anaya quickly wrapped herself in her favorite dupatta, scarf, and tiptoed outside. To her amazement, the firefly shimmered, growing brighter and larger, until it transformed into a magnificent peacock with shimmering blue flame feathers. "Climb onto my back," the peacock said in a voice like the rustling wind. "We must find the moon elephant before the next full moon, or she will be lost forever." With a deep breath, Anaya held on tight, and they soared into the night sky, past glowing temple domes, floating lotus flowers, and rivers that sparkled like liquid stardust. They descended into a valley where forgotten dreams drifted like mist. There, beneath a canopy of glowing dream flowers, stood a great white elephant with silver tusks. Her eyes, full of longing, reflected the constellations above. "Are you the moon elephant?" Anaya asked gently. The elephant nodded. "I lost my way, and now I have forgotten how to return." Anaya thought for a moment, remembering her grandmother's words, "The heart always knows the way home." But just as she stepped forward, a shadowy mist curled around them, whispering doubts into the air. "You cannot help her," the mist hissed. "She has been lost too long. The sky has forgotten her." Anaya's heart pounded, but she refused to listen. Instead, she reached into her pocket and found a small clay diya, oil lamp, from the Diwali festival. She lit the diya, and its warm glow pushed back the mist. The light reflected in the moon elephant's eyes, filling them with hope. "Follow the light," Anaya whispered. "The sky remembers you." The moon elephant lifted her trunk and let out a deep, musical call. The stars shivered in response, forming a golden bridge of light leading back to the heavens. But as the elephant stepped forward, she hesitated. "What if I fall again?" she asked softly. Anaya took her hand and placed it over the diya's flame. "You carry the light within you. It will always lead you home." The moon elephant's eyes filled with gratitude. With a final, graceful step, she rose higher and higher, her silver tusks gleaming, her great ears carrying her into the sky. As she touched the moon, her light spread across the heavens, forming a new constellation, a glowing elephant among the stars. When Anaya woke up, she was back in her bed, but outside, the Diwali lights shimmered brighter than ever, as if the stars themselves were celebrating. She ran to her grandmother and whispered, "Dadi, the moon elephant found her way home." Her grandmother kissed her forehead. "And because of you, the night will never be lost again." Anaya smiled, feeling something warm in her palm. She opened her hand, and there, nestled in her fingers, was a tiny golden bindi, glowing like a captured star. Above, the elephant moon shone gently, watching over her like an old friend. The end.
Anaya teaches the moon elephant to trust in our own light, showing that sometimes we just need a little reminder to trust and believe in ourselves.
Zola and the Song of the Baobab. Once upon a time, in a small village in South Africa, where the golden sun kissed the earth and the wind carried the scent of wildflowers, lived a boy named Zola. He loved listening to the stories his uncle, grandfather, told under the shade of the great baobab tree, the oldest and tallest tree in their land. One evening, Omkolu told an ancient story passed down for many generations. "This tree is not just any tree, my Zola," he said, patting the baobab's strong trunk. "It holds the song of the earth, a song that brings life, love, and balance to our land." Zola curiously asks, "Can I hear it, Omkolu?" Omkolu sighed, "Long ago, the song was loud and strong, but now it is fading because people are forgetting the song and I fear the song will be lost forever." That night, as Zola lay in bed, he heard tree branches falling and a soft whisper in the wind, like a song calling his name, which got him both scared but excited. He ran to the baobab tree, and to his surprise, the branches parted like open arms, revealing a glowing path leading underground. With a deep breath, Zola stepped inside. The roots of the tree curled like staircases, leading him into a hidden world, a glowing cave filled with golden light. At the center stood a small drum covered in carvings of animals and stars. It pulsed like a heartbeat. As he reached out, a tiny monkey with bright golden eyes appeared. "You must bring back the song of the earth," he said. "The land is growing quiet, and without the song, the rivers will dry, and the animals will grow weary." "But how?" Zola asked. The monkey smiled. "You must listen with your heart and drum with love." Zola picked up the drum, closed his eyes, and thought of all the beautiful sounds of his home, the laughter of children, the rustling leaves, the patter of rain, and the roar of the lion. Slowly, he tapped the drum. Boom. 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 A soft hum filled the air. He played faster, letting his heart guide his hands. Boom, boom, beade boom. Suddenly, the cave filled with music, the sound of birds singing, rivers flowing, and the whispers of the wind. The song of the earth had returned. The monkey clapped. "You did it, Zola. The land will be full of life again." As the cave glowed brighter, Zola found himself back under the baobab tree. Was it a dream? But when he looked in his hands, he still held the tiny drum, warm and humming with magic. From that day on, whenever Zola played his drum, the world around him sang a forgotten song, the water came back stronger and animals came back to the land. Under the shade of the great baobab, Omkolu smiled, knowing that Zola was now the keeper of the earth song. The end.
Zola's tale teaches us to listen to the world around us. Nature has its own music, and when we care for it, the world stays alive and beautiful.
Gael and the Heart of the Alobriges. Once upon a time, in the vibrant town of Oaxaca, Mexico, where the streets danced with color and the air carried the sweet scent of pan dulce, lived a boy named Gael. He had a heart full of dreams and a mind filled with the stories his father, told him every night. But there was one story Gael never forgot, the tale of the Alobriges, the magical spirit animals that guided dreamers and protected their hearts. Deep in the hidden valleys, Padre whispered one night, there is a place where the heart of the Alobriges glows like fire. Only the bravest dreamers can find it. Gael's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Do you think it's real, Padre? Padre smiled. You know when the time is right. That night, as Gael lay in bed, he felt a tug on his blanket. He opened his eyes and gasped. A small, glowing Alobrige stood at the foot of his bed. It was a brilliant jaguar with wings, its colors shifting between deep blues, fiery oranges, and shimmering gold. I am Zico, and I come to take you on a journey, the creature said, its voice like the rustling leaves of the ceiba tree. The heart of the Alobriges is in trouble. We need you. Before Gael could think, the room melted away into a swirl of colors. Suddenly, he stood in a mysterious jungle filled with glowing flowers and trees that whispered in Nahuatl, the language of the ancestors. Follow me, Zico said, darting ahead. Gael ran after him, weaving through thick jungle trees, leaping over glowing rivers, and passing stone pyramids that pulsed with ancient energy. At last, they reached a massive cave shaped like a jaguar's mouth. Inside, Gael gasped. Hundreds of Alobriges, serpents with feathers, foxes with fiery tails, owls with dragon wings, gathered around a floating heart, dimming like a fading candle. The heart is losing its magic, said an elegant quetzal with emerald feathers. Only a true dreamer can restore it. Gael bravely stepped forward, his own heart pounding. "How can I help?" Siko's golden eyes gleamed. "You must share a dream so strong, so full of hope, that it will bring the magic back." Gael closed his eyes and thought of his family, of Padre's stories, of the laughter that filled the streets of Oaxaca during Dia de los Muertos, where skeletons danced and marigolds glowed like tiny suns. He thought of the dreams of every child who longed to create, to explore, to believe in magic. And then, boom! The heart exploded in golden light, sending waves of color through the cave. The Alabrajes cheered as their colors burned brighter than ever before. Hiko grinned. "You did it, Gael. You reminded us why we exist, to keep the dreams of the world alive." As Gael blinked, he was back in his bed, the morning light spilling across his blanket. Was it all a dream, he wondered. But later that night as he was about to fall asleep, he heard a soft tap at his window. Peeking outside, he saw remains of a shimmering gold dust trail of lights that led into the night sky. From that day on, Gael never stopped dreaming. And every night, when he closed his eyes, he could hear the whisper of wings and the beating heart of magic, alive and waiting for the next dreamer to find it too. The end.
Gail's story teaches us that the stories passed down from parents, grandparents, and family members are special. They help us connect to our roots and keep our traditions alive.
Mei, Jian, and Lin, 3 stars of the guardian dragon. Once upon a time, in a small and peaceful village in China, where cherry blossoms danced in the wind and lanterns glowed softly at night, lived 3 triplets, Mei, Jian, and Lin. Though they were born together, they were very different. Mei was gentle and loved to paint beautiful pictures. Jian was brave and loved to climb trees and race through the fields. Lin was wise and loved reading old stories about dragons and legends. One evening, as the Mid-Autumn festival approached, their mother, told them a tale. "There is a legend," she said, her voice soft like the wind, "of the 3 stars of the dragon, hidden in the sky. If they ever fall to the earth, only those with the right hearts can return them and bring balance to the world." The triplets listened in awe. Later that night, as they were about to sleep, a sudden streak of golden fire tore across the heavens, illuminating the dark sky before vanishing beyond the misty mountains. The triplets saw the golden fire light pass through their room. Jian bravely said, "Let's go see what fell." Lin and Mei hesitated but went along with Jian. Carrying only what they cherished most, Mei with her paintbrush, Jian with a bamboo staff, and Lin with an ancient scroll, they ventured into the mountains. Mist curled around their feet as they climbed higher, and when it finally cleared, they beheld a magnificent sight, a great golden dragon with eyes that gleamed like the stars themselves. "I guard the fallen stars," the dragon rumbled. "To return them, you must prove your hearts are strong." The trial of fire. The dragon breathed a ring of fire around Mei. "To pass, you must create something beautiful from flames." Mei took a deep breath and dipped her brush into the ashes, painting a picture of the village, the festival, and the people in harmony. As the dragon gazed upon her creation, the flames transformed into blue dust butterflies and vanished. The trial of wind. A mighty wind roared through the mountains. "To pass, you must stand strong against the storm," the dragon declared. Jian planted his feet and wielded his bamboo staff like the root of a great tree, unmoved by the howling wind. He stood firm, and the storm faded into a gentle breeze. The trial of water. The dragon led them to a silent lake. "Tell me the wisdom of water." Lin unrolled his scroll and read aloud, "Water is soft, yet strong. It can shape mountains without force. It teaches patience and wisdom. It gives life." The dragon nodded, his voice slow and wise. "You have all passed." With a sweep of his mighty tail, he revealed the 3 fallen stars, glowing brightly. Mei, Jian, and Lin reached out, and as they touched them, the stars lifted back into the sky, shining down like tiny lanterns. "You remind me of the 3 stars, one creates, one protects, and one learns. Together, you bring balance to the world." As a sign of gratitude, the dragon flew the triplets quietly on his back to the village. When they arrived, they saw the Mid-Autumn festival in full splendor, light, music, and laughter filling the night. The moment they stepped onto the ground, the dragon vanished into the mist. May, Jian, and Lin hurried home and excitedly told their mother everything. They all asked at once, "Do you believe us?" She paused, then smiled knowingly. "Of course I do, my children. When I was your age, my older brother, younger sister, and I also met the dragon and saved the 3 stars." They chuckled together, and as they gazed out from their bedroom window, they saw the 3 stars of the dragon twinkling brightly, forever watching over them. The end.
Mai's creativity, Jian's bravery, and Lin's wisdom are each powerful on their own, but when united, they achieve the extraordinary. The story of the triplets teaches us that true success comes not from a single strength, but from the harmony of different qualities working together.
Aisling and the Elf Fairy's Whisper. Once upon a time, on a crisp winter night, when the snow lay soft like a woolen blanket and the air shimmered with frost, Aisling sat by her favorite stone, tracing patterns in the icy surface with her fingertips. The valley was silent. No wind, no rustling of birch trees, only the distant crackle of ice shifting in the fjord, like glass whispering secrets to the sea. Suddenly she heard, "You listen well, little one." The voice was deep yet musical, like the echo of a harp strung with silver, drifting through the frozen night. Aisling surprised and thrilled. She looked and saw perched atop the mossy rock was a tiny figure, an elf fairy. He was no taller than a candle flame, with pointed ears and silver eyes that gleamed like moonlight on water. His cloak shimmered with frost, woven from threads of ice-blue silk, and his boots looked as if they were spun from softest reindeer fur. Snowflakes swirled gently around him, but not a single one landed on his shoulders. "My name is Soothe," he said, his voice warm like a flickering lantern. "I have watched you sit here, listening to the whispers of the wind. You have the heart of a dreamer." Aisling's light green eyes widened, reflecting the pale glow of the stars above. "Are you real?" Aisling whispered. Soothe chuckled, the sound like wind chimes made of ice. "As real as the snow that falls and the fire that warms your home." She giggled, a breath of warmth in the cold air. "Why have you come?" His face grew serious, the silver in his eyes darkening like a storm cloud over the sea. "Because our magic is fading. Long ago, humans and elf folk shared stories, songs, and secrets. But now, few listen, and fewer still believe. If the stories are forgotten, our world will vanish, as if it had never been here." Aisling's heart ached, like the hush before a snowfall. She thought of the old tales her grandmother told, of Holduffolk hidden in the hills, of spirits in the rivers, of trolls who turned to stone at dawn. "What can I do?" she asked, her voice small but certain. Soothe fluttered his wings, pointing to the stone glistening beneath his feet. His silver eyes gleamed. "Share the stories. Tell them to your family, your friends, even to the wind and the mountains. The more you speak them, the stronger the magic will grow." Aisling placed her hand on the mossy stone, feeling its cold surface beneath her palm. The ancient rock hummed softly, as if remembering the stories of old. She told her grandmother's tales to her little brother before bed, her voice weaving spells in the candlelight. She shared them with her friends at school, their eyes wide with wonder, their breath fogging the frosty air as they whispered secrets of the hidden world. She traveled to every nearby town to share the tale, and soon, it was murmured through every village in Iceland. And when she returned to the mossy stone, Soothe was there, but he was not alone. He had brought his whole family of elf fairies. The stories of Bjargavik grew strong again, carried on the icy winds like golden threads, stitching together the past and the present, the real and the unseen. Thanks to Aisling, the elf fairies had a home to return to. And if you were very quiet, and very lucky, you just might hear the laughter of an elf fairy, dancing through the hills. The end.
By retelling the old tales, Aisling restores wonder, strengthens connections between worlds, and gives the elf fairies a home once more. Aisling didn't change the world overnight. She took one small step at a time by sharing a story. But that single act sparked a chain reaction, spreading from her family to her friends, then to neighboring towns, until all of Iceland whispered the tales once more. Aisling's story is a reminder that every action, no matter how small, has the potential to create something truly magical.
Omar and the Secret of the Sand. Once upon a time, in the golden land of Egypt, where the pyramids saw the sky and the Nile flowed like a jewel blue ribbon, lived a little boy named Omar. Omar was curious and full of dreams, with dark brown hair and bright brown eyes that shone like the desert stars. But unlike the heroes in the stories he loved, Omar did not feel brave. His father, a skilled potter, shaped the most beautiful clay vases, and his mother wove baskets so strong they could carry the heaviest dates. His older brother, Mohi, was strong enough to lift sacks of grain with ease. But Omar, he was just a boy who asked too many questions and got lost in daydreams. You must focus, Omar. The world is not built on dreams. Omar tried to be like his brother Mohi, but he wasn't strong enough to lift grain sacks, nor was he patient enough to shape clay like his father. He felt small, unimportant, just a speck of sand in the vast desert. One afternoon, while helping at the market, Omar's mischievous camel, Jafar, caught the scent of fresh dates and ran off. Jafar, come back. Omar called, weaving through the busy stalls before chasing him into the desert. The wind howled through the dunes, and as Omar climbed a sandy hill, he suddenly tripped. As he looked up, something strange caught his eye, a small stone door, half buried in the sand. Omar's heart raced. A secret door in the desert? He hesitated. His brother, Mohi, would have been brave enough to open it. His father would have been wise enough to know if it was dangerous. But Omar was scared, but he gathered up his courage and took a deep breath. I may not be strong like my brother or my dad, but I can be brave in my own way. With trembling hands, he brushed away the sand and pushed. The door creaked open, revealing a dark tunnel leading deep underground. Omar grabbed a torch from his satchel and stepped inside. The tunnel walls were covered in ancient carvings of kings, gods, and golden chariots. Then, he reached a hidden chamber and gasped. Before him stood a golden chest, decorated with the symbol of an old pharaoh. The room shimmered with the light of hidden treasures, jewels, statues, and golden scarabs. Omar's wide eyes filled with awe.
Oh, wow.
This must be the treasure of a lost pharaoh. But before he could step closer, a deep voice echoed through the chamber. Who dares enter? Omar spun around. A tall figure wrapped in golden robes stood before him. It was the guardian of the pharaoh's secret. Many have come to steal, but only the worthy may take from this place, the guardian said. Answer my riddle, and you may take one treasure. Omar swallowed nervously. I will try. The guardian's eyes gleamed. I have no mouth, yet I whisper. I have no legs, yet I dance. I can hide the greatest secrets. But I always move. What am I? Omar's heart pounded. Something that whispers. Something that moves. Something that hides secrets. He remembered the way the desert winds whispered through the dunes, how the sands shifted, bearing old paths and revealing new ones. Then, he smiled. The sand, he answered. The sand whispers in the wind, dances in the storm, hides the past, and is always shifting. The guardian's stern face softened. You are wise, young one. You may take one treasure. Omar looked at the glittering gold, but his heart pulled him in another direction. In the corner of the room, lying on an old pedestal, was a small stone scarab. It wasn't made of gold or covered in jewels. But something about it felt special. This, Omar said, picking up the scarab. The guardian nodded. A wise choice. That scarab holds the true power of Egypt, the power of wisdom and courage. As soon as Omar touched it, a warm glow filled the chamber. The walls shimmered, and suddenly, poof. He was standing back in the desert, the hidden door gone. Had it all been a dream when he tripped and fell? But when Omar opened his hand, the stone scarab was still there. When he returned home, his parents and brother embraced him, relieved that he was safe. "We feared you were lost in the desert," his mother said. "I was never lost," Omar replied with a smile. "I was meant to find something." And from that day on, everything changed. Omar no longer felt small. And so, the legend of Omar and the secret of the sand lived on, whispered by the desert wind, forever and ever. The end.
Omar had the chance to take gold and jewels, but he chose something with deeper meaning. This teaches us that the most valuable things in life aren't always the ones that sparkle, but the ones that help us grow, make us wiser, and guide us to do what is right. Omar's story also reminds us that bravery and intelligence are more powerful than wealth, and that sometimes, the greatest treasures are the lessons we learn along the way.
Luna and the Lost Little Alien. Once upon a time, in a quiet town in Arizona, where the stars shone bright and the cornfields stretched for miles, lived a little girl named Luna. Luna was curious and brave, with wild curly hair and bright green eyes that always searched the sky for something magical. She loved stargazing and dreamed of something exciting. But she never expected the night to take a wild turn. One summer night, as Luna lay on her rooftop watching the stars, she saw something strange, a bright, green streak across the sky. It wasn't a shooting star. It was too fast, too close. Then, boom! A flash of light lit up the trees near the old abandoned barn outside town. Luna's heart raced. Had something crashed? She grabbed her flashlight and ran toward the glow, her sneakers kicking up dust along the dirt road. When she reached the barn, she gasped. A small, silver spaceship lay tilted in a smoking crater, its metal shimmering under the moonlight. Luna stepped closer. Hello?" she whispered. A soft whimper came from inside. Carefully, she peeked closer at the ship and saw something incredible. A tiny alien, no bigger than a kitten, at the front entrance of the broken ship. It had big, glowing blue eyes, smooth silver skin, and little antennas that twitched when it saw her. Luna's heart melted. "Oh no, you're just a baby." The alien let out a soft, musical chirp. It looked scared and lost. Luna knew she had to help. She lifted the baby alien gently, wrapping it in her sweater. "Don't worry, I'll get you home." But just as she turned, flashlights appeared in the distance. The government. They must have seen the crash. Agent Hawkins carries a high-tech scanner that detects alien energy. He radios in, "We have confirmed signs of extraterrestrial activity. Moving in. We have to go now," Luna whispered. She ran through the cornfield with Nova gripped on her hand, her heart pounding. Luna took the alien to her treehouse, her secret hideout where she kept all her science books and tools. Luna sets Nova down as it curiously explores the space. "How do we fix your ship?" she asked. The alien blinked and touched Luna's radio. It beeped and floated into the air, glowing with the same strange energy as the ship. Luna gasped. "You need power." She grabbed her science project, which was a modified solar energy-powered lanterns, and placed it beside the ship's control panel. The alien reached out, pressing its tiny hands against the ship. The controls lit up. The ship was coming back to life. Outside, the government agents closed in around Luna's house. Luna knew she had only seconds. She carried the alien to its ship. "You're going to make it home." The alien chirped happily and touched her cheek. A soft glow passed between them, a telepathic thank you. Then, with a quiet hum, the ship rose into the sky, disappearing into the stars. The next night, Luna returned to her rooftop, staring at the stars, knowing that somewhere out there, she had a friend among the cosmos. The end.
Luna never expected to find a lost alien in her small town, but by choosing kindness, bravery, and an open heart, she discovered a friendship beyond the stars. Just like Luna, when we face unexpected challenges or surprises, we can choose to make the best of them, and in doing so, we learn, grow, and see the world in a new way. This story teaches us that life takes unexpected turns, but by embracing the unknown, we gain new perspectives and create meaningful connections along the way.
Eleni, Nico, and the Lost Mermaid Girl. Once upon a time, in a small fishing village in Greece, where the sea sparkled like blue glass and the olive trees swayed in the warm breeze, lived a girl named Eleni and her best friend, Nico. Eleni had big hazel eyes that shone with curiosity. Nico was a little taller, with a laugh as bright as the sun. They did everything together, racing along the cliffs, collecting seashells, and watching the fishermen mend their nets in the harbor. But their favorite thing to do was sit by the shore at sunset, listening to the waves. One evening, as the sky turned pink and orange, the two friends went to collect seashells to sell at the local market when they heard a strange sound. A soft, sad cry. Eleni and Nico looked at each other. "Did you hear that?" Nico whispered. They followed the sound down to a hidden cove, where the water was calm and clear. And there, tangled in seaweed and a fishing net, was a tiny mermaid. Her shimmering turquoise tail sparkled under the last light of the sun, and her golden hair clung to her face, wet with tears. Both Eleni and Nico stood stunned. But Nico knelt beside the mermaid and said, "You'll be okay." Eleni gently untangled the seaweed and fishing net from the mermaid. "What happened?" she asked. The lost mermaid sniffled. "A terrible storm came last night. The waves were so big and strong that they swept me far from my family. When I woke up, I was here, all alone." The young mermaid, whose name was Thalassa, told them that her family lived near a place called the Singing Caves, where the waves made music. Nico gasped. "I know where that is. My grandfather told me stories about it." Eleni grinned. "Then let's go." But there was one problem. The Singing Caves were far away, past the deep waters of the bay. "How will we get there?" Eleni wondered. Thalassa's face lit up. "I can call my dolphin friends." She cupped her tiny hands around her mouth and let out a sweet, melodic whistle. Moments later, the water rippled, and two sleek dolphins leaped from the waves. The children climbed onto their backs, and with a splash, they were off across the sea. As they sped across the water, the waves began to grow stronger. The wind picked up, and the sky darkened. Thalassa looked around, worry crossing her face. "We should be close, but something feels wrong." She bit her lip. "The currents change all the time. If we take the wrong path, we could be pulled into the rocks." Nico thought for a moment. "Wait. My grandfather always said that the waves near the Singing Caves hum a special song. Maybe we can listen for the right path." They listened closely. A soft, rhythmic hum, almost like a lullaby, echoed through the water. "That way." Eleni pointed. The waves surged around them, but the path stayed clear and before them, glowing in the moonlight, were the Singing Caves. Eleni and Nico scanned the water. "Do you see them?" Nico called. Thalassa looked around, her eyes filled with nervousness and longing. "There. It's them," she cried. From the shadows of the deep blue cave, a group of merfolk emerged, their tails glowing under the moonlight. A beautiful mermaid, with hair like silver waves, rushed forward. "My precious one. We have been searching for you." Tears of joy filled Thalassa's eyes as she swam into her mother's arms, holding her in a long, tight embrace. Thalassa turned to her new friends. "I will never forget you," she said, her voice full of warmth. "You brought me home." The mother mermaid smiled. "For your kindness, the sea will always be your friend." She handed them two shimmering pearls, glowing softly like tiny moons. "Whenever you need help, hold these close, and the sea will answer." With one last wave, Thalassa and her family disappeared into the deep. The dolphins carried the children back to shore. And that night, as Eleni and Nico lay in bed, they could hear the soft hum of the mermaid's song coming from the pearls, like a sweet lullaby singing them to sleep. The end.
Thalassa was lost and missed her family, but with Eleni and Nico's kindness, she found her way home. This teaches us that home and family are special, and we should always cherish them. So remember, always be kind, help others, and believe in the magic of friendship.
Haru and the Lucky Cat. Once upon a time, in a quiet village in Japan, where cherry blossoms danced in the wind and lanterns glowed softly at night, lived a little boy named Haru. Haru was kind and hardworking, but his family was very poor. His father was a fisherman, and his mother sewed kimonos, yet they barely made enough money to buy rice. Even though Haru had little, he never complained. He helped his parents, picked fresh vegetables from the garden, and shared what little food they had with those in need. But one cold winter evening, something magical happened. As Haru was walking home from the market, he heard a soft, pitiful meow. He turned and saw a small, shivering white cat with one black ear sitting near a shrine. Snowflakes clung to its fur, and its golden eyes were filled with sadness. "Oh, you poor thing," Haru whispered, scooping the cat into his arms. The cat purred weakly and nuzzled into his warmth. Haru knew his family had barely enough food for themselves, but how could he leave the little cat to freeze? When Haru brought the cat home, his parents sighed. "We can barely feed ourselves, Haru," his mother said gently. Haru bowed deeply. "I will share my food with him," he said. His parents smiled at his kindness and let him keep the cat. Haru named him Tama, meaning treasure. That night, as Haru slept, he dreamed of a golden temple and a voice whispering, "Kindness brings fortune." The next day, as Haru and Tama sat outside the market, a wealthy merchant passed by. Suddenly, Tama raised his paw as if he were waving. The merchant stopped. Curious, the merchant walked toward Haru and smiled. "You have a very special cat," he said. "Tell me, young one, do you work hard?" Haru nodded. "Yes, sir. I help my parents every day." The merchant chuckled. "A hardworking boy and a lucky cat? That is a rare thing." He reached into his robe and pulled out a small bag of gold coins. "This is a gift for your kindness," he said. "Use it wisely." Haru's eyes widened in shock. Thank you." With the money, Haru's family was able to buy more rice, warm clothes, and even a new fishing boat for his father. As the seasons passed, their luck continued to grow. More villagers visited Haru's home, believing that Tama was truly a lucky cat. Yet Haru never forgot that kindness had brought him good fortune, not just through gold, but through the warmth of giving and caring for those in need. And from that day on, Tama the cat sat outside their home, always raising his paw, as if waving more happiness their way. The end.
Haru, despite his own hardships, chooses to help the little cat without expecting anything in return. His generosity and compassion lead to unexpected blessings, showing that good deeds often bring rewards in ways we least expect. The story teaches that true wealth is not found in gold alone, but in love, kindness, and community. While Haru's family gains prosperity, the greatest reward is the warmth of giving and the joy of caring for others.
Sophia unlocks a secret superpower. Once upon a time, in a city in France, where the culture was rich with murals and markets, and everything seemed ordinary, there lived a little girl named Sophia. But Sophia's family was far from ordinary. Her mother, Charlotte, had telekinesis, allowing her to move things with her mind. Her father, Raphael, possessed superhuman strength, able to lift a car with only one hand. And her older brother, Arthur, could run so fast that you couldn't even tell he was gone. Yet their family had to live in secret, hiding their magic from the world. But there was one problem. Sophia had no powers. Sophia would watch her family use their gifts in whispers and shadows, longing to be like them. "I wish I had powers too," she whispered to the stars. "Something special. Something just for me." One evening, under the glow of the full moon, she overheard her parents speaking in hushed voices. "She's of age and must find her gift on her own," her mother said. "It's hidden, waiting to be discovered." Sophia's heart leaped. Her powers were out there, waiting for her. That night, as the town slept, Sophia felt a calling, urging her to go into the forest behind her house. She walked into the forest, where fireflies glowed like tiny lanterns. The air felt alive, whispering secrets. Then, suddenly, a soft silver light appeared before her, stretching into the trees like a glowing ribbon. A path, she whispered. Something inside her pulled her forward, as if the path itself knew her name. She followed it deeper into the woods, past twisting roots and silent streams, until she reached a clearing where the stars shone brighter than anywhere else. And in the center of the clearing stood an ancient mirror, taller than she was, its surface rippling like water. As Sophia stepped closer, she felt a chill in the air. Then, a dark figure emerged from the shadows. It was Morvarth, the thief of magic, a cloaked figure with hollow eyes, a long, pointy nose, and sharp fingers. He had spent centuries stealing the gifts of others, growing stronger with every stolen power. And now, he had been watching Sophia. "You do not yet know your gift," Morvarth hissed. "But I do. And I will take it before you even find it." Sophia's heart pounded. "No. It's mine." Morvarth's shadowy hands reached for her, trying to pull the light from within her. For a moment, Sophia felt weak, as if something inside her was slipping away. She closed her eyes, feeling the fear rise inside her. Then, she heard a whisper. Not from Morvarth. Not from the trees. From within herself. The power within. You are more than your fear. You are more than your doubt. The stars chose you. Sophia opened her eyes, and suddenly, the mirror behind her lit up like the night sky. A blinding silver light burst from her chest, pushing Morvarth backward. "No," he screeched, shrinking away from the glow. Sophia stepped forward, her fear fading. "You cannot take what is mine." As she raised her hands, stardust swirled around her, wrapping her in light. This was her gift. She was connected to the stars, the guardian of their ancient magic. The shadows vanished. Morvarth let out a final scream before disappearing into the night, swallowed by his own darkness. Sophia stood in the glowing clearing, breathing hard, her heart racing. She had found her power. As she returned home and embraced her family, who cheered for her unlocked powers, she knew she was no longer just the girl who wished for magic. She was the girl who claimed it for herself. High above, the stars twinkled in approval. For she had the gift to shine like light into the world. The end.
Sophia longed for magic, thinking it had to be revealed to her, but in the end, she found her strength when she faced her fears and fought for it. This story teaches us that courage, belief in oneself, and determination unlock our greatest potential. Your true power is not something given to you, it is something you discover within yourself. No one else can define who we are, we must claim our own power.
Kai and Koa, the twin brothers, and the water lizard Mowo. Once upon a time, on a lush Hawaiian island, where palm trees swayed and waves crashed against volcanic cliffs, lived twin brothers, Kai and Koa. Kai was gentle and thoughtful, like the calm sea at sunrise. Koa was bold and fearless, like the powerful waves of a storm. Though different, they were inseparable, spending their days surfing, exploring hidden lava tubes, and climbing coconut trees. But one fateful night, a great storm swept through their village, bringing a danger unlike any they had ever faced. Their father, a skilled fisherman, had set out to sea before the storm arrived. When morning came, his canoe was nowhere to be seen. Kai and Koa ran to the shore, where the villagers had already gathered. The village kahuna, spiritual elder, traced patterns in the sand with his finger, muttering a melepule prayer chant to seek guidance from the spirits. "The storm may have awakened the spirits of the deep," the kahuna warned. "Your father is lost, but perhaps not alone." Kai knelt and pressed his palm to the sand, feeling the ocean's breath. "We have to find him." Koa tightened his fists. "Then we must go now." Their mother placed a lei of mailei leaves around their shoulders, a sacred plant symbolizing protection and connection to their ancestors. "Listen to the sea," she whispered. "It will guide you." Taking their small canoe, they paddled out. The sea was eerily quiet, the only sound was the wind whispering through the waves. Suddenly, the water rippled, and a shadow moved beneath them. A mo'o emerged, a giant, shimmering lizard, its long, sinuous body covered in black and green scales that glowed like pahoe-hoe lava under the moonlight. It had golden eyes like the sun and moved through the water as if it were part of the sea itself. The mo'o lifted its head and spoke in a voice as deep as the ocean. "Why do you disturb the waters of the deep?" Kai spoke first, his voice steady. "We are searching for our father. The storm took him." Koa, gripping his paddle, said, "We are here to bring him home." The mo'o studied them for a moment before speaking. "To find your father, you must prove yourselves worthy of the ocean's gift. 3 trials await you. Only those who respect, understand, and trust the sea may seek its secrets." The twins exchanged a glance. They had no choice. "We accept," they said in unison. The mo'o raised its tail, creating a whirlpool around them. "You must cross these waters without disturbing the stingrays, the sea turtles, or the fish," the mo'o said. Koa instinctively paddled harder, but Kai stopped him. "No," Kai said. "If we fight the water, we will sink." Instead, they moved with the current, letting the waves carry them gently through the whirlpool. The stingrays glided beneath them, unbothered. A group of green sea turtles swam alongside, nodding as if in approval. The mo'o nodded. "You understand the sea. You may continue." Mo'o lifted its claw, revealing 3 glowing pearls, each with a different light inside, one as bright as the sun, one illuminate as the night sky, and one deep like the ocean. "Choose the pearl that will guide you to your father," the mo'o said. Koa reached for the golden pearl, thinking of the sun to light their way, but Kai hesitated. "Look at the ocean," Kai whispered. "It glows under the moonlight. Our father is lost at sea, we must follow the ocean's light." Koa picked the shimmering blue pearl, and at once, the waves began to glow, revealing a hidden path in the water. "You have chosen wisely," the mo'o said. The mo'o's golden eyes flickered. "Now, you must face the might of the sea." Without warning, a towering wave rose behind them, dark and powerful. Koa gritted his teeth. "We must push through it." But Kai, remembering the first trial, said, "No, we ride with it." The twins leaned into the wave, guiding their canoe like a surfer on a crest. The sea roared around them, but they did not fall. As the wave crashed, the mo'o let out a mighty cry. "You both have shown respect, wisdom, and courage," it rumbled. "The ocean will always guide those who listen." The mo'o placed the blue pearl in the twins' hands. "This is the ocean's gift. It will always lead you home." And with that, the mo'o disappeared beneath the waves, and the storm clouds parted. In the distance, they saw a lone canoe, their father, drifting, exhausted but safe. They paddled to him, whispering a gratitude chant as they pulled him onto their boat, returning home. From that day on, the twins became the greatest wayfinders of their time, using the stars, the waves, and the whispers of the ocean to navigate. For they now understood the ocean was not just a force, but a guardian, a teacher, and a friend. The end.
There's a wise saying, a canoe is an island is a canoe. This saying teaches that everything is connected, just as the twins' canoe is their whole world at sea, their island and ocean are also part of them. Kai and Koa learn to work with the ocean rather than fight against it, understanding that they are not separate from nature but part of it. The story teaches us that the ocean, like life, is powerful. If we fight it, we struggle. But if we respect it and move with it, we find our way. And with that, our journey through dreamy tales comes to an end, at least for tonight. But remember, the magic of stories never truly fades. They live in your imagination, waiting to be explored again and again. So, snuggle in, close your eyes, and let these stories carry you into the sweetest dreams. If you enjoyed this storytelling adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with fellow dreamers. And let me know in the comments, which story was your favorite? Or maybe you have a tale of your own to share. Until next time, may your dreams be as magical as the stories we tell.